It was 4 years ago when a car accident left Lilly Barnett's parents wondering if their daughter would live, let alone be able to compete in any sports again.
Well, through countless hours of hard work, Lilly is now thriving in a new sport. Delmarva Life's Sean Stryker had a chance to meet up with Lilly at one of her rehab sessions. And Sean, you talked with Lilly and her occupational therapist. And tell me, what has the rehab process been like?
Well, Lisa, it definitely was a long road to recovery. Lilly had to learn how to eat, speak, and walk again, but it was a road that took a lot of team effort. It was July 26, 2011, when a car accident changed Lilly Barnett's and her family's lives forever.
Well, me and my mom went to Justice. Then coming back, a motorcyclist ran into my side at over 100.
Well, I just originally thought it was a fender bender, but then what happened was Brian and I had to actually drive by the scene of the accident on Route 1. We saw the spotlights, we saw the ambulance and police cars, we saw the backup of traffic. So unfortunately at that point I knew it was a little bit more serious.
Lilly was left unconscious and was transported to AI DuPont Children's Hospital in Wilmington. Her parents feared the worst.
Those first 2 weeks I just didn't know. Every day it was a touch and go. We had, one point she had like 4 nurses in there. She was hooked up to IVs. She was every monitor. She had a breathing. It was just, but I kept hoping and praying. But it was in the back of my head the whole time.
Shannon Saldana is an occupational therapist at AI DuPont. She's been working with Lilly since the beginning.
I went into the room to meet Lilly, and she was in bed, her family surrounding her bed as they continuously do through her rehab. And we kind of assessed the patient as they're laying there. She wasn't doing a whole lot at that point. Reach for the bars. Good job.
Shannon worked with the Barnett family as well as other therapists in the rehab center to develop a treatment plan designed to get Lilly back to being a kid again. In order for that to happen, Lilly would have to work with a physical therapist, speech therapist, and occupational therapist, as well as attend school classes.
We then try to look at function. So we think of Lilly as an individual out in the community. What was she doing before her accident? So you kind of have to assess what is her occupation as a child. So you look at the school piece. So what does she need to be able to do to get back to school? What does she need to be able to do to get back to her cheerleading? What does she need to do to be able to go back to live at home again? Like, you have to think of all of those components and kind of incorporate that into her treatment planning. All right, Lils, which one do you want to do?
The team worked with Lilly on everything from walking to building cognitive skills, all in a way that makes a child want to work hard.
So we got to do stuff like do crafts, cook, do fun things, be silly.
So in the pediatric setting, it kind of does look a lot like play, because as a child, play and school and being a daughter, those are all occupations. So we kind of have to make everything fun, and in order to get the children to do the things that we need them to do to be successful. All right, Lils, you ready?
Eventually, after 6 months of hard work, Lilly was ready to transition to an outpatient program.
It's 5 days a week with all of the same therapies. So then she progresses. The better she does, then we try to transition back to her home school. So then she was coming here 4 days a week and going to her regular school 1 day a week. So we can kind of communicate with them to see how she's doing in school versus how she's doing here, start progressing that.
Now, Lilly and her parents are at home more than they're at the hospital. She's been able to return to cheerleading and has even picked up a new sport.
We need more strength, ultimately. Her stability, a lot of her not being able to walk and not being able to stand and do the things she does comes from weak core support.
So her parents took her to the firm in Rehoboth Beach, where she picked up indoor rowing. Not only did it turn out to be a lot of fun, but Shannon says it's a great form of rehabilitation.
Well, I know that when Lilly is anything's put in front of Lilly, she is bound to conquer it because she's got the determination to do anything that's set in front of her. So I had no doubt that she was going to succeed in rowing. And just looking from the OT standpoint, it was a great activity for her arms and also her legs from the physical therapy standpoint to incorporate the bilateral, all limbs kind of an activity. So I was determined, or I was, sure that she was going to do well with it.
What started out as a hobby became a passion, as Lilly would go on to qualify for the World Indoor Rowing Championships in Boston.
It was freezing cold. So we stayed in a hotel room for a couple nights. Then we had the competition. I won. Then we went to a victory dinner.
You heard right. Lilly is a world champion, and her parents say she wouldn't be where she is today without everyone at AI DuPont.
But slowly, because of being at AI, she has come out. They have brought her with their therapies to where she is now, just constantly doing things that I was surprised, like we're going to put her in the pool, we're going to put her on a bike. They did it, and that's what has got her where she is now.
Although Shannon says Lilly deserves the credit.
Lilly has just made a remarkable recovery. She's her determination, her smile, her friendliness, her willing to do anything you asked her to do. She just has a great, inner side of her that it's just remarkable, the recovery that she's made.
And I talked to Lilly. I said, now that you're a world championship indoor rower, what's next? She said, well, I really want to learn how to play basketball. So definitely an inspiration. Well, another form of rowing, or I guess I should say paddling, that's being used to help wounded veterans is stand-up paddleboarding with an event called Second Chance, Paddle Second Chance, and it's being held this weekend in Millville. I'm here with Walt Ellenberger and Eric Moriarty. He's a competitor. He's the chairman. I'm going to start over here with Walt. What is Paddle Second Chance?
Well, Paddle Second Chance is a stand-up paddleboard race and fundraiser for our injured warriors. And it's a wonderful startup organization called Operation Second Chance, and they're pretty much dedicated to help these warriors transition back into civilian or active duty.
When is it happening? When's the race going down?
Well, the race is going down this weekend. So it's Saturday, and it's here at Holt's Landing. We'll get kicked off at 8 o'clock. The gates open up. We have main events that start at 11. We have a 5-point mile and a 2.5-point mile race. Between that, we have a little kids race. And then we end up with a new event called the co-ed team race, which is on a giant stand-up paddleboard that accommodates 6 people. So that should be quite entertaining.
Entertaining, and I know a lot of fun. Now, Eric, you're in the race. You participated last year. You're also wounded. You were a soldier, and you got hurt. Tell me, how did that happen?
I was hurt in 2006 in Fort Bragg in a parachute accident.
And you lost your leg, and you started coming out here to watch the race, and now you're a participant. How is paddleboarding? Tell me about that.
Paddleboarding is very beneficial for guys like me. It helps with your balance, it helps with your core strength, helps with your cardiovascular. It's a pretty good total body exercise. And so I just wanted to kind of prove that I could do it. And with the help of Sandy and Ron at Walk on Water, they really made it happen.
And they said you're actually doing great. You're too modest to admit it yourself, but they said Eric is a great paddleboarder. Now, him and I are going to be hopping on some paddleboards, and he's going to, I guess, he's going to probably show me up. I don't know. Jimmy and Lisa, back to you guys.
Oh,
I can't wait to see this competition. I got to say, though, to be honest, I don't think I'm going to go with Sean.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, after the big race, we're cooking up an old-fashioned classic rigatoni bolognese. Delmarva Life, we'll be right back.